Hey guys, this is Ozzy from Wonderless Awe Syndrome, where the voyage is contagious. Today I am going to talk about relevant travel news. I just found an article through my email from Travel and Leisure where Americans can travel with the COVID-19 still going around. So if you're an American who is interested to travel like I am, I got some good news. There's a lot of places in the world where many Americans cannot travel, specifically the continent of Europe. Many places in Europe are not allowing Americans to travel because of the COVID-19 cases that are going on in my home country. If you are looking to go to Europe, you might consider waiting another time, or you could try these other places outside of Europe, opening it up to Americans. Before I tell you this list from Travel and Leisure, just keep in mind that these are countries who are going to have a bunch of restrictions. Some of them you might have to pay a pretty penny. These countries are making you responsible if you happen to get COVID for whatever reason and they don't want to be responsible. So here are the lists. I'm going to be on my phone reading this off. The first place Americans can travel right now is Aruba. Aruba will start welcoming US visitors to its turquoise waters on July 10th. According to the Aruba Tourism Authority, this follows the opening of its borders to travelers from the Caribbean, except for certain places. Tourists will have to complete a self-health declaration 72 hours prior to arriving in Aruba, as well as show a negative COVID-19 test or prepay for a test to be completed while there. The island, which started reopening outdoor restaurants on May 25th, has a cleaning and hygiene certificate program for tourism-related businesses, focusing on things like plexiglass barriers at desks. The second country that is opening to Americans is the Bahamas. The Bahamas plans to reopen to international commercial travel on July 1st, so they're open right now. The Bahamas Ministry of Tourism and Aviation shared with Travel and Leisure the island first reopened to yachts and private planes on June 15th. Travelers arriving between July 1st and this July 7th, which will be passed by the time I post this video, will have to show a negative COVID-19 test no more than 10 days old. After July 7th, the test needs to be no more than 7 days old, according to the ministry. Visitors will have also to fill out an electronic health visa before their departure. To reassure tourists, the Bahamas introduced a clean and pristine certificate program for tourism-related businesses like hotels and restaurants. Several flights are resuming to Bahamas. This is a good sign, according to the tourism ministry, including Southwest, JetBlue, and Delta Airlines. The third country is Barbados, another gorgeous Caribbean country worth visiting. I've been there myself. It is spectacular. Barbados is expected to reopen tourists on July 12th. Visitors are encouraged to take a COVID-19 test 72 hours prior to departure and be able to present negative results at the airport. Travelers can also choose to undergo a test at the airport and quarantine until the results are ready. On June 1st, the island reopened realtors, parks, and dinings and restaurants. According to the Barbados Government Information Service, on June 15th, all businesses were allowed to open and timing restrictions on beaches were eliminated, which is awesome. That means you don't have a curfew if you want to hang out on the beach late at night because you love evening time, ocean breeze. So this is a good news. I love this news. This is a good sign. The next country is Belize. Belize will look to welcome tourists back to its luscious landscape on August 15th, requiring visitors to either come with a negative COVID-19 test taken within 72 hours of their departure and use the fast lane at the airport. That's in quotations, so you'll have the option if you want to use the fast lane, or undergo testing on arrival, according to the tourist board. Visitors have to download the Belize Health app before boarding a flight, as well as undergo temperature check at the airport and wear a mask while traveling. Check in. Additionally, travelers will find health measures in place at the airport, including sneeze guards, Luggage will be sanitized before being transferred into the terminal. The next country is Bermuda. Bermuda will reopen for all international traveler on July the 1st and require entering visitors to show a negative COVID-19 test for no more than 5 days before departure, according to the Bermuda Tourism Authority. Additionally, visitors will have to fill out a travel authorization process online and pay a $70 fee. Travelers will be tested at the airport and have to quarantine at their accommodation until their results are ready, which typically takes 4 to 8 hours. I mean, it's not as bad as if you go to Europe as an American and you have to spend 14 days waiting for a quarantine to end. But I mean, that's 4 to 8 hours of your travel wasted because you have to wait on this test to show that you're negative. Visitors will be tested every few days while on the island and be required to take their temperatures twice each day and report it online. Restaurants on the island have been allowed to reopen, and Bermuda's popular beaches are open with physical distancing measures. On July 1, the island interfaced for increasing gatherings to 50 people and reopening bars, according to the government. Who doesn't go to the Bahamas without going to a bar? It's good to see that the bars are opening, but man, this is very strict if you're going to the Bahamas. The next country is Cambodia. US and other foreign travelers can take advantage of the amazing temples in Cambodia, but it will cost them. The country will require visitors to pay a hefty $3,000 travel deposit before entering to cover any potential coronavirus related costs. Now I had to wonder, if you don't get anything like any coronavirus or COVID-19, do you get that money back? Is it just being a hold, or do you lose that money forever? I would like to know. Travelers who test negative while there will only be on the hook for about $165 for the mandatory test, according to the US Embassy in Cambodia. Again, I mean, you were talking about giving that kind of money. How are you gonna get all of it back? I mean, guess from what I'm reading, you're gonna only pay $165 and you get the rest back, but you know how things can work out in this situation. Those who do go to Cambodia will also be required to show a negative COVID-19 test for no more than 72 hours before traveling, proof of medical insurance coverage for at least $50,000, as well as undergo a COVID-19 test upon arrival and wait in an official facility until the results are ready. If someone on their flight does test positive for the viruses, all passengers have to quarantine for 14 days at a location chosen by Cambodian authorities. If all travelers test negative, they have to self-isolate for 2 weeks at their lodging. This is nuts. I would put Cambodia, if I had to travel anywhere this year, Cambodia would be dead last right now. As great of a country as I've heard from many people who've traveled there, wow, that's just flat out nuts. It's almost not worth the risk going out there, knowing that if one person gets it, that's 14 days of your vacation gone, because you're going to be sitting at a quarantine area based on the Cambodian government. It's just this was the most insane one. So if you're an American, you're looking to travel, consider making Cambodia the very last place worth going on this list. French Polynesia. French Polynesia, known for the crystal clear waters of Tahiti and Bora Bora, will reopen its borders for international tourism on July 15th, which that may, by the time I post this video, it may or may not happen. Depends on the situation, so we'll see what happens. Including for US travel. Tourists coming to the island will have to undertake COVID-19 tests 72 hours before departure and show those negative results before boarding a flight. Anyone who tested positive for the virus more than 3 weeks before the trip can show an immunity certificate as their proof. Travelers will also be required to have a travel insurance policy, and people may be randomly tested 4 days after arrival. That is not bad. That's not bad compared to Cambodia. So just keep that in mind. Fresh Polynesia over Cambodia. That's how I would play this. Jamaica. Jamaica reopened to international travel on June 15th, requiring arrival passengers to undergo a temperature check and have some undergo a COVID-19 test on arrival, according to the Jamaican Tourist Board. The island also introduced protocols for tourism industries, including requiring each hotel to designate at least one employee at a time as a COVID-19 safety point person to conduct spot checks. Okay, again, Jamaica, way better than what you have to do to get in Cambodia. Maldives. Americans looking to take advantage of the luxury of overwater bungalows need to look no further than the Maldives, which will reopen to international tourism starting July 15th. That may or may not happen. Don't take this word for it, because crazy stuff can happen that makes people want to push it back. So just take it with a grain of salt. The island nation will first reopen its uninhabited islands, followed by inhabited islands on August 1st. Visitors won't have to pay an additional fee or show negative test results, and those who don't have any symptoms won't have quarantine themselves. Okay, Maldives is it. Hey, if you're an American like I am, and you're looking to travel this year, Maldives sounds like that's the top spot because it doesn't require you to do so much or pay so much. Mexico. This is a country I'm looking to go this year, even though I had plans to go to Africa. If you've watched my videos, you know the 4 countries in Africa I want to go, but because of what's going on with COVID-19, I'm looking at Mexico as my backup plan to travel this year. So I'm curious to what I would need to do to visit Mexico during this crazy time. The land border between the US and Mexico remain closed and will be until at least July 21st. Several states in Mexico, however, have reopened for tourism, including Quintana Roo, like populous, so Cancun, and Jalisco, where Puerto Vallarta is. Mexico has created a color code system for each state according to the U.S. Embassy consultants in Mexico, and has placed both Quintana Roo and Jalisco in the orange category, allowing hotels and restaurants to open with 50% capacity. La Paz and Loreto in Baja California Sur are welcome back visitors in June. Alright, so this is not bad. So this might be a good option for me to go this year. I've never been to Mexico. I've always wanted to go to Mexico. So I hope when I go later on that the country is at least 90%, 80%. I'll be happy with 80% open. So if that option is on the table, saying that stuff doesn't go crazy or go out of hand, then I might look at going to Mexico. St. Lucia. This is one of my favorite islands of the Caribbean. It is so gorgeous. I didn't want to leave there. But let's get into the requirements during this crazy time. St. Lucia reopened to international tourists on June 4th. Visitors have to show certificate proof of negative corona tests taken within 48 hours of boarding a flight. Business on the island have resumed with social distancing measures in place. Okay, that's another place. That's not bad. It doesn't sound like there's no costly restrictions or costly payments you have to make to protect yourself and the country from you getting coronavirus. Well, that's another good country I'll put on the top of my list if I was to travel this year. Serbia. This is a European country, so this is interesting. Serbia lifted all COVID-19 related restrictions for both Serbian and foreign citizens. According to the U.S. Embassy in Serbia, allowing people to enter the country. The government also reopened shops, restaurants, cafes, and parks and lifted restrictions on outdoor gatherings. Masks are required in closed spaces in Belgrade, according to the Serbian government's website. This is awesome because this is one of the few European countries that will allow Americans to come into the country to explore Europe. This is rare right now, so if I want to go to Europe right now, I'll be looking at that. But I'm not holding my breath for that. Tanzania. The suspension of international flights to Tanzania has been lifted according to the U.S. Embassy in Tanzania, and travelers are expected to fill out a health surveillance form on the plane. On June 26th, the Tanzania Tourist Board promoted travel to the country with a Facebook video showing health measures like hand washing, temperature checks, all the common sense thing that you should be doing on a constant basis. Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos will reopen to international travel on July 22nd, welcoming tourists to its more than 40 small islands and pristine beaches. The island's tourism board anticipates flights will resume from the US, Canada, and Europe. The Grand Turk Cruise Center will remain closed until August 31st. If you're a cruise fan and you want to go there, you have to be patient. On June 5th, the island will allow retail business to reopen, and restaurants are expected to open by July 6th. So by the time I post this video, it should be already open if you're looking to go out there. Hi, my name is Ozzy Alejandro, and you're on my channel, Wonderless Awe Syndrome. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, and share this video, and come along with my journey as I explore the world and sharing unique views, advice, and stories.